Flashover. The moment a conversation becomes real and alive, when a spark of trust shorts out the delicate circuits you keep insulated under layers of irony, momentarily grounding the static emotional charge you've built up through decades of friction with the world. This is Braininess, and on this season we are covering the Dictionary of Absurd Sorrows chapters. Today we are going through the third chapter of this podcast, which is about finding shelter in the presence of others and montage of attractions. Here I have Alina.
Hello.
Nick. And Moshe. In this chapter, we're going to cover some words that are kind of related to interpersonal relations, right?
Yeah.
That we've been through. Okay, let's just start with the first one. Flashover. The moment a conversation becomes real and alive, when a spark of trust shorts out the delicate circuits you keep insulated under layers of irony, momentarily grounding the static emotional charge you've built up through decades of friction with the world. We're talking about.
I feel like this kind of relates to how this podcast started too, because like you had an idea and then you talked to a bunch of people about it and then like kind of came into being, and then the same way that we got on this podcast too was like
Exactly. Yeah.
we started talking about it and then like all of us really enjoyed the conversation and then like it turned into this.
Yeah, we have the opportunity to kind of talk about things we never talk about, and we have our ties to the world. It's kind of more like we feel it more. More ties to the world, you know. Do you have anything?
No.
Okay. So should we go to the next one?
We could, yeah.
Offensiveness. A knee-jerk territorial reaction when a friend displays a casual interest in one of your obsessions. This is kind of...
So it's like when you're, okay, it's like when your friend like randomly comes up with a topic and then like it's something that you're really obsessed with.
Exactly.
And you're like, why do you care so much? I'm obsessed with this.
I'm obsessed with this, yeah. Exactly.
You're not allowed to be.
Yeah, it's very relatable. And
exact opposite.
you just want that. You kind of like until they just mention it, you're not aware like how obsessed you're with that thing, you know. And then you're like, I wanted this to be only felt by me, not you.
Yeah.
Why are you being obsessed with it?
It's not really coming from a place of anger or anything. It's just like an immediate reaction.
Exactly.
Like you don't realize it.
Yeah, you don't really.
I mean, I feel like I've had it in both ways. You know, there have been times where I kind of almost felt tempted to like gatekeep it, like, no, this is my thing, you know.
Yeah.
Because it, you know, if it's something very niche. But then there's other times where I don't know. I just go like I guess I almost misinterpret their interest, like the level of interest they have, and I'll just get so excited because I'll be like, oh my god, someone has the same interest in me. So then I'll start talking to them about it.
Oh yeah.
And then they'll just their eyes will just kind of glaze over, and I just know like, oh wait a second, and never mind. Maybe they're not as obsessed as I am.
Yeah, I see.
You just start info dumping and then you're like, okay, maybe they're not as autistic.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. Do you want to read?
Yeah. Motel-headed. Feeling uneasy when socializing with odd combinations of friends and family, or friends and colleagues, or colleagues and family. Mixing a medley of ingredients that don't typically go together, which risks either watering down your identity into grey mush or accidentally triggering some kind of explosion.
Oh, this is so
It's
relatable.
just saying being with multiple people who are not
It's
the
like-
same.
No, it's
it's not
when
the
you're
same.
like, you know how, you have
Group of
university
multiple people.
friends. Kinda, yeah. It's like when you have university friends, there's your school friends, there's your family and like your cousins
Oh,
and
it's
stuff.
maybe different ideology. I thought they were talking about people who have different ideologies.
No,
No, it's
like
like different settings.
people you know,
Yeah,
like
you know specifically, but in different settings.
yeah.
And
Like imagine
certain-
having your school friends, university friends, and your family all together at one place.
Yeah.
It's like
You know how
weird,
that
this
feels?
weird combination.
It's
of
a
people.
very weird
have very
It's
different
like-
personalities with family. And
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're like from different worlds almost. So, and a lot of times I think we kind
And
of
you
have-
are the only person that they all know in the home,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And they probably all have a bit of a different perception about you
Exactly.
because we tend to, even if it's subconscious, we tend to present ourselves differently
Obviously,
around
you live
different
with
groups
your
of people.
parents. You don't live with your friends. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. But just then imagine you're all together in the same place. Like, how are you gonna act in that situation?
Oh,
that's what's really
yeah.
weird.
That's
I think.
kind of just puts a lot of pressure on you. I
Yeah.
think.
But yeah, you have
Yeah,
to
you
somehow be the right person around all of them.
Exactly.
it either comes down to like a very very formal personality where you just talk about stuff you would never talk about, like education or like stuff like which is like so bogus. Like you'd laugh if you talk about it to like either one of them.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
like you have to find like a sweet middle ground which is comfortable for both of them.
I think that this sort of thing does happen sometimes to like an extent. Like I don't know, like when we were kids or something, when you would have I don't know, like when you would be with one of your friends and then your parents would also be there. And then they try to make like awkward small talk with you guys. And
Yeah.
then you just keep it very sanitized and you
Yeah.
make it seem like you're, I don't know, a lot
You
more
seem
well
like
behaved and
basic,
mature than you
yeah.
actually are.
But with kids, I think it's fine. I think when you're like teenagers or like you're like in your
That's when it,
university age, like even that's a little more, because those people know you completely differently than how your parents
Yeah.
imagine you.
Exactly.
So like you pretend you're like a very innocent boy in front of your parents, but you also don't want them, your friends, to see how like in
How-
Urdu we have this
spoiler,
thing
yeah.
called Pappu Bacha, which is like which is like a very decent like sweet boy. We call him Pappu Bacha. Like that's the thing where your parents come, you have to show like Pappu Bacha image.
Oh, that's
Yeah, you wouldn't want your parents to know how you are around us.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
I don't get.
Yeah. Like when I was back in the US over the summer, I was hanging out with my friends. So like we went to Walmart to get like some snacks and stuff for the evening.
Yeah.
And we ran into my dad there.
Oh.
Because we live in such a small area, it's
Yeah.
very hard to like. If you wanted to avoid someone, you would never be able to get away with it most
I
probably.
see.
Like so, but yeah, so we ran into him, and then I don't know why, he's literally my dad. I was with him earlier that day, but it just felt awkward as fuck.
it
It
was
felt
a
like
different
it felt like
setting,
running
yeah.
into I felt like I was running into a stranger, and I just didn't know what to say or what to talk about because I don't know, because my friend and I were just having some really unhinged conversation.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden all of a sudden my dad is within earshot. So now you just have to completely change what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
I see.
And it was a very very weird. So we just made we had some awkward small talk, and then I kind of abandoned my friend to him so that they could catch up, even though they didn't ask for that. Of course. and then the whole thing was over in like a few minutes, but it was it was a very weird
Yeah,
experience.
it's like when you're meeting up with friends or like your parents drop you off or like your friend comes over and like they have like a very small conversation but it feels so awkward because it's like, okay, this person knows like a very free
Like,
version of me and my parents know like their kid version of me and like it's weird.
And you kind of
Yeah.
feel sorry, like I'm sorry, I'm putting
Yeah.
you in this situation that now you have to. I mean, not in a bad way, like you kind of feel the pressure that they're
Yeah.
under,
Well,
the
it depends
talking
on how
to
the
your parents.
conversation. Sometimes they're just like it's a very like hi, hello, and how's started.
Yeah, but
I mean, yeah, still.
You like okay,
Yeah.
it's like for example, my dad won't have like a big conversation with it. He just asks like how studies are going, like he doesn't tease you, or like he would point to me like doesn't he tease you, like he's okay around you. Then they'll be like yeah, he's very good, and then he'll be like okay. And then
Yeah.
he'll be-
Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next one. So these two are kinda related. I'm going to read the first one. The McFly effect. The phenomenon of observing your parents interacting with people they grew up with, which reboots their personalities into youth mode, offering you a glimpse of the dreamers and rascals they used to be before you came into the picture. And the other one is Gnossian. It kinda has like a weird pronunciation, or Gnossian actually, how it's pronounced is Gnossian. The awareness that someone you have known for years still has a private and mysterious inner life.
Yeah.
I mean, the one about parents is actually very relatable, because you know how they used to be different people, like they had their own school friends, they had their own friends, their own connections before you even come into being.
Yeah.
And all that kind of changed, and you just know the version of them that you've known for your whole life, and you don't know who they were before you. And it's kind of sweet to see them hanging out with friends from their own back from childhood. good, and it gives you another like you've never seen them in that setting, and
Yeah, they
it's very
feel younger in a
Exactly.
sense because
Yeah.
it's like they're most of those friends are like from their teenage era or like their university era or something like that, and
Mhm.
it's like you know the responsible and adult parent version of them, but then you see like this like version of them that like kind of in a similar stage that you are in right now. And
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
They were kind of like me too. Like it's not just me.
Yeah. In a
Exactly,
way,
like
like-
spontaneous,
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, it humanize them a little more. I
At
think.
our
Yeah.
age, everyone's a little too spontaneous. So, even they would laugh at that. I've seen my dad be like, why are you being so serious? Like, they're his friends.
Yeah.
Because all they remember is like stupid things they did in school. So they're like, I saw you doing like dumb stuff and now you're a parent. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
seen conversations happen like
Oh my
this.
god.
Because they remember like their school friend, their kid comes and remember we did that, we did that, we did that. And most of them are not.
It's actually also the same for the friend, Like I can't imagine you guys as a parent.
Oh yeah, there is no way.
I mean, yeah, there's
Talk
a
about
chance
yourself.
maybe we'll end up in that same situation
Oh.
like 20 years from now or something.
I feel like
With
especially
big
with this
profound-
guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Excellent parent.
Just
Okay,
imagining
I'm
this.
not saying you're going to be shitty or X, I'm just saying that I can't imagine that,
And the little kid would like have a mustache.
Okay, we're moving to next one.
Opia, the ambiguous intensity of eye contact. So much can be said in a glance. You feel such ambiguous intensity looking someone in the eye. It's somehow both intrusive and vulnerable. Their pupils glittering black, bottomless, and opaque. The eye is a keyhole through which the world pours in, and a world spills out for a few seconds. You can peek through into a wall that contains everything they are, catching a glimpse of their vulnerability, their pain, their humor, their vitality, their power over others, and what they demand of themselves. But whether the eyes are the windows of the soul or the doors of perception, it doesn't really matter. You're still standing on the outside of the house.
Yeah. I mean, eye contact is always like, especially for those who tend to feel things like deeply. It's kind of something like hard to have with someone, because it feels so intimate to keep an eye contact with people, and
How
but
close
when
would you talk to someone if you don't have
I
eye
feel
contact?
that way. I feel like whenever I like make eye contact with someone, I'm thinking, are you staring into my soul, man?
exactly, yeah.
I really
And
cannot
with
keep
some
eye
people,
contact
it's
with
actually
people.
the case. Like you don't
Yeah.
feel the same with everyone, but some people like.
Wait, like I can't. If I'm looking at someone and talking with them, it's like the eyes or the face. That's where you look and talk. Now it's just awkward. I like
If you didn't think about it,
Yeah,
now,
because
you see,
you
now,
didn't
yeah,
think
but
about it.
now you're
it's
thinking.
a subconscious meaning. Yeah, you look at
Yeah.
their face and their eyes.
The thing
If
It's
they're
actually
not,
very strange, like it doesn't happen with everyone, but with
Yeah.
some people,
Yeah.
you kind of feel like they're staring to your soul,
Yeah.
like directly to your soul.
Yeah, it usually depends. I don't know. Some people just have a very piercing stare. Where you feel
Exactly.
like when they look at you, like they're scanning you. or
Exactly.
something. Yeah, I
I think
mean,
he's scanning you right now.
I,
What the hell?
anyways, well, no, I mean, I think that it can be more intimate or less intimate for different people. I always remember growing up that, my teachers would always say you should make eye contact with a person when you're talking to them because it shows respect,
Yeah.
it shows that you're listening to them.
But it's hard,
Yeah.
At
It is
some
hard.
point, I totally feel you because sometimes it's
Yeah.
hard to keep it with some people, with some certain people, and you just don't want. You want to look anywhere but your
Yeah.
eyes.
And
Yeah.
that's
that
your
is,
respect.
isn't like for me. I would consider that disrespectful. If you're talking to someone and then they're looking down or
They're
something.
not
Not looking down, but like you keep trying to. Okay, you're still staring at them, so they think that you're like looking into their eyes. But instead of doing that, you're like looking away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in some circumstances, it can actually
Not
yeah,
constantly,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I always thought of it like that.
Well, like looking with eye stands. Sorry to cut you off, but it stands in a form of confidence. Like you're talking to someone. If you look them in the face, it indicates confidence. If you're like looking somewhere else, it also indicates like you don't believe in what you're saying.
That's not always necessarily true.
Well-
Even I'm uncomfortable with eye contact. It's like, okay, when it's a stranger, I'm like, okay, this person's never gonna see me again, whatever, I can just stare. But when it's like with my friends, I'm like, okay, I'm not comfortable making eye contact with everyone all the
Mhm.
time because it just feels weird. Some people just have it that way,
Exactly. Yeah.
They're like, okay, this
Some
is
people are
too.
weird.
It's
Okay,
also
some people argue.
harder
It's
to
like
do that when you're having a I guess when you're having a very serious conversation with
that's
someone, like a heart-to-heart type of thing. Sometimes if it's something very difficult to talk about, it's hard to make eye contact with someone
exactly.
at times as well.
It's not always about
Yeah.
confidence. Sometimes it is
Yeah.
actually, but not always.
I mean, like yeah, of course, it can also be about confidence. Like for most of my childhood, I had a huge problem with keeping eye contact with people because I don't know, I felt too shy to do it. Like I don't know why I thought that by making eye contact with them, if I was looking at them,
You're
I
being
also felt,
exposed.
I felt like, and I also felt like I don't know, I was going to offend them or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
But
Yeah.
also, for like our movies have romanticized like this very common expression a lot. Be like, you look into eyes.
Yeah.
That's also a thing.
Yeah, that is also a thing when you're like, okay, that happens when you're interacting with the other gender a lot, but you haven't done it that much, you know.
Yeah, you
Like-
haven't been in contact.
Yeah, I grew up in a non-co-ed school, so our like girls and boys side were always separated, right? And then when I came to this campus, I was like, okay, same different genders, opposite genders, but like still friendly. And it was weird, like staring into people's eyes. I was like, I don't want to give the wrong message, and obviously, it wasn't giving the wrong message.
Exactly.
But like, that's the image, like you're.
How you
screwing
show
up.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wear big
So-
lashes.
What?
Uncle but not big lashes. Never mind.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. So these two are again kind of related. The first one is okizia, the fear that the role you once occupied in someone's life could be revealed without a second thought, which makes you wish that every breakup would include a severance, a package, a non-compete clause, and some sort of romantic placement program. And the other one is naclophobia, the fear that your deepest connections with people are ultimately pretty shallow, that although your relationships feel congenial in the moment, an audit of your life would reveal a smattering of low interest holdings and uninvested windfall profits, which will indicate you were never really at risk of joy, sacrifice, or loss.
This is when like I feel like this also comes as a part of growing up. At least the second one. It's like you start questioning your friendships with people or like your relationships with people, and you're like, are we friends because of circumstances, or are we friends because we relate to each other and we have a connection?
I mean, both are true at some
I
point.
think
you
there'll
know?
always be circumstances, no matter what the situation is. There will be
I mean, yeah, they
circumstances.
play part of it, but then even when like the circumstances are over or like the circumstances change, you're like, okay, I am still friends with this person. Our connection is deeper than that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that time always tells with that.
It
Yeah.
starts with circumstances. We all became friends partly because we are in a university. That's the
Yeah.
Of course, it's how we meet each other after
Yeah,
all.
me and Lena, for that matter, we spend more time together because we have all our classes, most of our classes together.
Yeah.
Like that's a circumstantial thing.
Yeah, but with time, I think you realize, well, once those circumstances end, for example, then you realize whether
Is
or
the
not there
connection
is
still
more
there?
than that.
I also
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
that
you will,
most
enemies
people,
must
I'm not enemies with women, bro. I respect them too much.
What about you?
Okay.
I also believe on like a very like deeper note, every human is same. So if you spend a good amount of time with anyone, you can be friends with them.
Not anyone.
No, if not,
Not
if not, yeah. So if you spend a good amount of time with anyone, because on a basic level, we do have some similarities with every human being. You know, even for example, if you take Hitler for example, and then he loved animals. So you would be like that's your career path with him. He actually did. So, and you find similarities with anyone because eventually people do want to, social people I'm saying, not introverts. Social people do want to hang out with people.
So introverts are still people.
They're
But
still-
they're-
I mean, I'm saying this is
Good
more about
portion of
social
people
people,
are
right?
The thing is, you need a valuable connection with them.
I mean-
Every human, if they spend enough time together, there will be a valuable connection.
You know,
with
because
people.
this is not the case for me. Like, if I, because, and this is, it's not the case for me. If I just spend some time with people, like for a good amount of time, I don't necessarily become friends with them or just
Yeah.
find similarities.
Like,
or
unless you have something that connects you guys, I feel like you can't become that level of friendship where you
But
like
what do
keep
you mean
up.
that level of friendship?
Like the kind of friendship where even after we graduate, we will still keep
Oh no,
up with
obviously
each
not
other.
that level of friend. I don't think that level of friendship is not like that's like excellent friends because you obviously spent 4 years together and then that's a very different kind of friendship. There are
But
strangers
that's
with
kind of what we're.
Oh yeah, that is
You know.
different. Yeah, that is you have to have at least something to bond over. I guess.
Exactly. Also, are you saying you would bond with Hitler over animals?
No, I'm just saying there was an example.
Let's move on to the next one.
Delonia, a state of unease prompted by people who seem to like you too much, which makes you wonder if they must have confused you with someone else. Someone flawless, selfless, or easy to understand from a distance, feeling vaguely disappointed that they're unwilling to spend the time it takes getting to know the real you. Very
When you have a
relatable.
lot of insecurities and then someone likes you and then because you don't
Yeah.
like
No,
yourself,
it doesn't have to do with
it does. It
insecurity.
directly does. I'll explain
Why?
myself.
It does actually.
Let me explain myself.
Okay.
So, a person hates themselves.
Okay.
If anyone loves them, they'll be questionable of it. They'll be like, why does he?
It's
love
not necessarily love, it's like.
affection, whatever. They're like, why does he? I would say love is a very strong word, but like, why are they affectionate towards me?
Mhm.
You know, why do they think of me like positively and stuff? Because you don't know how they project you. You just know how you project yourself.
Yeah.
So that is, if you project yourself as a bad person, then anyone who will be like, you'd be like, why is he like that friendly to me?
So maybe actually it could be the other way around. Maybe you're not revealing like that good part of you like to them, okay? Because
Or
maybe you're a
real
very
part.
reversed person, not reserved person, okay? And they still haven't seen that part of you, and just with very little of you that they've seen, they started to like you, and you're like, they don't even know me that well. So why have they
Yeah.
started to like me? Like I haven't even shown anything to them, you know?
So it's basically, maybe they're just decent people. Like if you meet someone,
Yeah, I mean that could also be
if
the
you don't
case,
know
you
them
know?
like that well, obviously they won't have like they'll be nice to you. If someone comes up to me, I don't know them, I'll obviously be nice to them. But
Yeah,
then
I
they
mean,
won't.
it's like your inner self talking. You know?
Yeah, you're just
Maybe that's what I said. You're subconsciously not satisfied
Yeah.
with yourself, so you question everything that comes to be.
This happened when I became friends with these guys, like in the group. I was like, this was my first semester, and these guys used to want to hang out with me a lot, and I was like, oh, why do you guys want
They're
to
just
do?
bored. I'll answer you.
Why?
They're just bored.
That was before you came.
Yeah, that was before you came.
I know.
Yeah.
Everyone hangs out with here not because like it's the general perspective is they're bored. They want someone to hang out with, and it's a small community of people you can hang out with. They're like 6 people. That's my analogy of why people hang out with.
That's a terrible analogy.
Yeah.
But
It's like-
I'm trying to say
there
that,
should be
like,
some sort of connection
Yeah.
that you want to
It's
hang out
good
with
More
them.
than
company.
6 people to hang out. I mean, the Montage
Yeah.
campus has like 3,000
But
students.
I
You
think
know, it's not
you
that
also want
small.
some similarities with people, right? I would gladly hang out with any Pakistani just because they're Pakistani. That's one thing I would do.
That's
And
standard.
international for that matter. Because I believe we have like some similarities other than a Turkish student who does not have like the same set of problems I do and like is not relatable to us. Some do, but most of them don't. So that's why we're connected to like because it's like we're a very small community, that's why we're so close to each other. I think we went off
I
topic
mean,
here.
Yeah, we
among-
did.
yeah, that's probably.
Yeah.
Cut.
That's okay.
Let's move on to the next one. Lilo. A friendship that can lie dormant for years only to pick right back up instantly. As if you had seen each other last week, which is all the more remarkable given that certain other people can make every lull in conversation feel like an eternity.
Is it saying like when you meet someone after a very long time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like what we talked about with our parents, right? When they meet their friends,
Mhm.
all their memories come.
Yeah,
And
they
it does
start
not
to
feel
click
like,
again, yeah.
it does not
Like-
feel, especially if they're good memories.
Mhm.
So if they all come, like imagine we had fun in this and this and this
Yeah.
and this, and then that's how you associate them, and that is where your brain goes automatically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually a very nice feeling. You
Yeah.
know, like even though you don't have time to be in contact with them like all the time, like maybe you go on like I don't know several months not talking, like not being in
Yeah.
touch that much. But when you talk, it feels like nothing. Like there was no time in between that you weren't in
But that's
contact.
also
Yeah.
because you genuinely had good memories with them,
Exactly.
right?
That
If you
that
have-
also matters.
Or if you have experience, like if you've traveled with them, I believe you can like forget stories and everything, but not stories. You can forget like conversations, but you
Mhm.
cannot forget traveling.
There are certain factors that are effective here, you know. Like I mean, yeah, if you have done traveling with them is also a factor, or shared memories in a sense that
Or
like
maybe they help you at like a very deep personal point and something like
exactly,
that. You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Those are kind of like other factors that are important.
Well, I would say like trips, because if it's like a stupid trip of like, why would you do? Because it's always you tell it to multiple people.
Exactly.
I would say
And then you
it's
start
still
talking
fresh
about
in
it together, and you'll
Yeah.
remember that time we did that thing. Yeah.
It's also kind of nice when you're like catching up with someone from like a while ago, and
Mhm.
like it doesn't feel like anything's changed, but you're like just catching up on life, and you're
Yeah,
just
in a way.
like re-getting to know each other.
Well, you
get
Yeah, but then you
perspective of how
realize
much
that you're
it's
still,
changed.
I guess you realize that you're still kind of, well, just as tight as you were before.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're still like on the same page about a lot of things. So I don't know,
Mhm.
it's just kind of nice to always have
Depends.
someone you could go back to.
Yeah.
And I guess they become almost like they're like a constant in your life.
Yeah.
Someone that you think that like no matter what's going on, and no
I
matter what
have
changes
this
around you, at least you
Mhm.
always have this person
Exactly.
or these people. Yeah, 'cause,
Exactly.
yeah,
They-
that's
they
how it
kind
is
of
with
turn
me.
They've
into
seen you
family.
like in very several different settings, and they've seen a lot of versions of you, and they have still chosen to be in
Yeah,
your
they've
life,
been
and
on
actually
all.
that's very valuable.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
kind of like turn into family at one point.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're like an
I had
extended
a very
family.
different. I just
Yeah.
consider them as like good friends, or like good.
Yeah, at one point, good friends turn into family. Like it's your formed family. You
Yeah,
know?
not all people. I guess I don't know. I've always thought that someone doesn't have to be like blood related to you for you
Yeah.
to, for you to. I guess at least at some level in your mind consider them like family.
The thing is, I
Because-
am like the level of closeness I have with my family. I cannot imagine having it with any friend. Maybe because I haven't had like very
Different
long-term
for
friends.
It could be.
So I'm like, we used to live in different places. So for me, I am in contact with everyone. I've been to like thousands of people. I've been to different schools.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider them, if it's like a loss or something, I wouldn't consider like, I should ask him for help and stuff like that. It's just like, they were friends, we had good time together, it's just past. Like that is my idea of
Yeah.
it.
I see.
I mean,
There's a lot of friends I would consider my family. Like
Yeah, me too.
there's a lot of people out there that like you form such a deep connection with, and they've seen you through such like awful phases of life that like you basically turn into family. You know.
Exactly.
yeah.
No, I
But
consider them very highly in my life, but families, I would categorize these two things differently.
Different.
I think it depends on the
Yeah.
person. It usually depends on what your view of family in general is. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I've never really considered it like I don't know. Someone simply being related to you is not enough for you to really have a connection with them. In my mind,
Yeah.
that's why there are a lot of people in my life who are not related to me in any way. But I would say I consider them close. Like I consider them more important, or like that they're closer to me than a lot of people in my life.
Like they know you better.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know me better, and I feel more comfortable with them.
Yeah.
And I would be more likely to go to them for help than I would be some of those people in my family.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you have close family,
In
the,
my-
like,
Yeah,
your
it's
family,
different.
like parents and all that. That's
consider,
different.
I would
Situation.
consider family, blood relations always. Like if I have a cousin who I really talk to, and I have a best friend, I would maybe how I was raised. I would trust my blood cousin over a person who I know for like years. I would go for him for help. It's mainly like the family system where your family comes first, no matter what the
And
situation. is.
you're lucky in that sense when
Yeah.
you can have like good family relations.
Exactly.
Not
If you
everyone
have,
has
yeah,
that.
if you have
you
a
know?
good family like that, that's like
Yeah.
actually a great thing.
Yeah, I'm
But
just
my
very-
family is not as like depending on depending on the
Well,
family.
it's also
I'm
I wouldn't
raised
say
in.
my family is perfect too, but then the thing is, you look at them as like a very positive light.
Yeah.
So even if they do something, you're like, okay, you can let that slide. Even when you love someone too much, if they do something, you're like, yeah, you can let that. We don't talk about that. That's like separate. Maybe that's the case,
Exactly. I see.
right? So
Yeah.
all fingers are not the same.
Okay, let's move on to the next. Moments of tangency. A fleeting glimpse of what might have been. You and I have never met many times before. Our paths might have crossed once or twice online or while passing in the street. We might have spent an hour sitting back to back at the same airport gate, or even exchanged a few words over the phone when I dialed your number by mistake. For all we know, we might have been living in the same neighborhood for decades, but against incredible odds, we just happened to miss each other. So this one basically talks about how there could be people that your paths have crossed like too many times without you even realizing.
We can relate that to like people you just randomly see in university.
No, actually that's the case. Maybe you haven't even seen them, but kinda your paths have crossed more than you even realize. Like maybe you have dialed them, like you have dialed their number like by mistake, and you had no idea who that person is. Maybe that person was the one who was sitting back to you like at the airport, like.
You don't dial people anymore. It's not the 2000s, but you just message them.
Okay,
Like,
some people
you've
is
never-
not
you've never-
What do you
you've
mean?
never
You
called
don't
anyone?
call
Call
people?
them on WhatsApp. Like I have.
Okay, that's not the
That's
point. I was
different.
talking about like you see how.
I'm talking about that you're old.
Okay, but I'm not talking about that.
I mean, the other day I actually did that to someone on WhatsApp by accident because I had
You're
someone.
old.
How?
No, I had two people save them the same name. One of them I knew, one of them I didn't. I have no idea why the other person
Then
was
that's-
saved in my phone. But when I tried to call them, they didn't answer. And then when I texted, they were like, "Oh, wrong number." I'm like, who the fuck is this person? Why are they in my phone?
Okay, that's
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
did you get where I'm coming from? Like what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Like I think that yeah. I mean, the mind kind of, well, in a way, even if you haven't seen this person, you think, well, in another life, this person, or in another situation, maybe if circumstances were just a little bit different. if that's
Exactly,
actually
like-
the problem,
Believe in another
then
Maybe
that's-
some
What?
You believe in
slight
another life?
differences.
I'm
were-
not talking. I'm saying in another circumstance, like an
Oh, okay.
alternate circumstance,
Mhm.
like maybe your paths would have crossed with this person,
Exactly.
and
But somehow it
yes.
didn't happen.
Yeah, and if they had crossed, then maybe this person could have become your best friend or something. You
Exactly.
never know. It's
You
all
never
about the
know.
possibility.
Exactly.
But they also could have been your worst enemy. Maybe they would have murdered you or something. But yeah,
I
the idea is
feel
that
like
it's, yeah.
that just comes from overthinking. To be very honest, like I was trying very hard to connect with it. I've never really, be like, maybe the.
It's not something that you think
Yeah.
about, but when
It happens
just
absent-mindedly.
exactly.
It's overthinking. That's where it comes from. Like
No.
it's subconsciously going in your head of like.
No, this isn't something you think about. It's just a moment.
It's
It just
just
happens.
something that you think of,
never-
Like, what if there is someone that our paths have crossed, like, way before I have even realized, but I don't even know who that person is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
The next one's Felicia. The disquieting awareness that someone's importance to you and your importance to them may not necessarily match. That your best friend might only think of you as a buddy, that someone you barely know might consider you a mentor, that someone you love unconditionally might have one or two conditions.
That's kind of sad, but it's true, like, because you're not on the same page with everyone, and this happens quite a lot, I think, because, for example, for me personally, I felt like, I don't know, like some of my, actually this happened today, and I was talking with a girl in my classroom, and I happened to not even be in contact with her that much, but she just started talking to me and stuff, and I was just talking to her casually, and then I think this is kind of mean, but she was like, "It's so nice talking to you. I really feel comfortable and stuff," and I was like, "Yeah, it's really nice," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, some
I
people
see.
are
So
just
you're at the
very.
receiving end.
I mean, she was,
Yeah.
I wasn't like, I wasn't in the same page as her, like.
Well, it's also some people are just nicer in a way where they would say it but they won't mean it. Like I mean, just because it was really good catching up with you, like bro, I won't. share
No,
my-
it wasn't in that setting. I could tell. Like it was kind of more to her, but I wasn't there where she was.
Some people also form connections like very fast,
Mhm.
and like then they realize that they're not on the same page, but like you're getting there.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
like sometimes you might take it personally, or sometimes you're just like, oh, it's fine. Like, well, I'll probably get to know them more, and then like it will reach that point. But
Or
like,
maybe I'm sorry.
yeah, but like you're like, okay, I like this person enough where we can form a good connection, and then you're like, we're not there yet, but we'll get there. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like maybe something that you say casually has a great impact on them. That they see you like they perceive you in a deeper level.
Like what expectations you have of like friends, that's where like the thing starts. But like you think of them like a very highly and very. For me, I don't really think of any. I have very those kinds of friends. I'm like friends with them.
You have
like,
baseline
yeah,
friendships.
they no matter like with everyone. Some people I'm a little more close to, but for example, you guys, it's like a decent level of friendship,
Yeah.
So for example, I don't have. So I would believe you have the same level too. So I believe it does not
So are you
complicate.
saying we're not besties?
No, we're not.
OMG.
What's your name, by the way? Okay, sorry.
Wow.
That's generally like if you, some people just have very high expectations from people
Exactly.
as soon as they meet them. I don't. But also that comes with time when you.
I mean, yeah, you
With
just go with
maturity
the
you
flow,
start to,
like
you know.
when you're.
Yeah.
I think it really
Yeah, with
depends
all of
on-
us who are speaking, I don't think anyone. What I was saying is, this comes with maturity, where like you don't give too much attention to people you've just met.
Yeah.
I also think this comes with when you're first like in a new environment. Even I had this problem. When I first got here, I like started making friends. I was like, huh, this is a good friend. But then like later on as time passes, like not that close. We're not that
Exactly.
close.
Yeah.
And like I think it comes like when you're in a new situation, it comes with kind of like a, how do I say it? Like a film over your head, like where you can't really tell what's actually going on until later.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, okay, I was overthinking it, or I was giving it too much meaning, you know?
Exactly. I
So it
see.
also
Yeah.
depends on like some people are just very they'll tell you stuff like for example I won't
Yeah.
I tell good stuff but if like something's bad happening like I wouldn't tell anyone if there's something bad happening. Like, some people would just tell me start saying like a devastating thing. Then I would respect that they think of me.
Actually,
to
yeah, that's
tell me
also
that.
the case
Yeah.
for me
Yeah,
as
for
well.
me I wouldn't go like like this happen. Good things are like you share joy but you don't share sadness.
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
philosophy.
Like
You usually share those like the bad parts with your family mostly, like from.
Or but I don't
Yeah.
you just keep it within yourself.
Or yeah, you keep it within
That's how
yourself
great people
actually.
do it.
Yeah, like I know that when in my first university before I came here, I was very young when I went. I was 18, so when I arrived there, the thing is there were a lot of these Erasmus students. So they were exchange students. They were coming from other European countries. A lot of them were much older than me. They were mid-20s, sometimes even like late 20s. Like they were all at least a couple of years older than me.
Okay.
And they were already well into their university studies when they were doing this exchange. So they were the people I had I had my first exposure to them.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, I thought we were all going to be best friends, because we spent so much time together during the orientation days.
Mm-hmm.
So then, so I got attached to them.
Yeah, I see.
But then after all of that was done, they kind of just distanced themselves.
Because they were older than you.
They distanced themselves. Well, they distanced themselves from each other too. They just all day
Yeah.
started hanging out with other people. Doing
Oh,
the
I
same
see.
thing.
Circumstantial
So
friendships.
so it ended up. So the thing is, I guess part of it was because I didn't have a real friend group in high school, so I was never really familiar with how these things work anyway. So to me, I just thought that okay, because we spent all this time together, that means we're going to be really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So then when we weren't, I was confused
Confused.
and
Yeah.
pretty upset about not,
Frustrated,
I got upset because but with time I've realized it's not anything personal. It's just because sometimes like you just, I don't know, different people are going to view the situation differently.
Differently, yeah.
And
they
I
have
think that
different
especially
perceptions.
because they were older,
Yeah.
they've
Exactly.
probably been through this same thing
It's
already.
maturity.
Yeah, it's maturity, exactly. You don't really view these things the same way as you get
Exactly.
older. Like you can recognize when something is just going to be
Yeah.
temporary, so
Mhm.
you don't really get close to them.
You
So
don't put as much effort. I feel
Exactly,
like it's
yeah.
part of growing up.
yeah.
Exactly. Okay, now we can move on to the next one. It's foil sick. Feeling ashamed after revealing a little too much of yourself to someone. Allowing them to clear a view of your pettiness, your anger, your cowardice, and your childlike vulnerability. Wishing you could somehow take back the moment. Discreetly bolting the door after a storm had already blown it off its hinges. Okay.
Oh, this is when like
This is too relatable.
Yeah, it's way too relatable. You're like, why did I share that much? Bro?
You kind of lose yourself when you're talking to someone, and like after you come back, you're like, why did I even mention that?
Yeah.
Why did I? Was it necessarily to expose myself that much?
I'm saying when you're a little comfortable with the conversation.
Yeah,
with
you
someone,
get comfortable,
and
but
then things come and come and
exactly.
come.
But
and
after that, having this happen to you, like when you come back,
I think it happens to everyone.
Yeah,
If they like to talk,
exactly.
I wouldn't know.
Fortunately, yeah, sometimes,
others want to
everyone
say-
has a TMI moment where they just give away too much, and then
Yeah.
you realize later on, like, shit, maybe I
It
should
wasn't
have said all of that.
necessary.
Yeah.
It's like,
Like, they
I
didn't-
spoke too much.
Yeah, they
just
didn't
forget
need to
it.
know that, or maybe, even it's something that maybe you would have told them at some point, but you didn't know them well at that point.
Yeah.
But I think it also doesn't make it any less real because in that moment you were feeling comfortable talking with them and like sharing it with them, you know.
I believe with time it also it doesn't really matter. So when I was young, when we like 19, 20, 19 or 18.
Back when I was 20,
Back in
6
your
months
school.
ago.
6 months
six
ago.
months ago, back in our days.
When you're like, or when it's like your first time, you start telling like, this person is judging me, and then that is your mind. Like, when you told them that that's where they judge you and stuff. But then when they're like, they don't really care. Most people would just hear it and then just like they won't hear. They forget.
Yeah,
what they talked
actually,
about
yeah.
after, like,
They don't even bother thinking about you.
Yeah, it's you over
Yeah.
there.
Let's move on to next one.
Okay.
The Kinder Surprise. The point in your early adolescence when you realize that your parents are modeling through their lives the same as you, that many respectable adults are no less lost than you and your friends, no less petty and obsessive and insecure, which makes you wonder if there are no real adults because such a thing never actually existed except in bedtime stories.
Yeah, it's very
I would
relatable.
also relate to that when you're mature, you start to like see the actual sit on the big table.
Yeah.
And then you would know, okay, it's the same kind of conversation, but instead of toys, it's politics. So you also you relate to everyone, because on a human level, I still believe everyone's the same, but the things just change.
Exactly.
We talk about like bigger things, and I think when you're young, you're like your parents are like they're perfect people, bro. They don't do anything wrong. But like with age, you're like, oh.
You know, when you're young, it's easier to judge your parents like by their actions, and as you grow older, you realize that okay, under the same circumstances, I would have also maybe done that, you know, and you kind of realize that okay, this is also their first time living, and they're allowed to make mistakes, and but as a child, you just the way you. See those like it's very big for you, you know, because you see them as like kind of God to you, like kind of.
There's two
Well,
sides to it.
Exactly, there's
They
two
give
sides.
you like the godlike image to you. Right?
Exactly.
You're not dumb. They tell you like oh you should. They give you the most ideal situation.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a funny story. My parents would tell me stories, and then their friends or their like my grandmother would tell me the same story. Like they're not the same
They're not
story.
the same.
They're kind of an angel in this one, the devil one in the other.
No, I mean I think that is just kind of a part of growing up.
Exactly.
Every parent wants, sorry to cut you out, a very good thing is every parents want their kids to look at them like very highly. I would say that most parents would like that's why they want to set an image where we never do anything wrong, and it does not
Yes,
succeed.
because when you're trying to teach someone and you're trying to be a role model, you have to make them see you as perfect as possible because that's how they're going to listen to you. If they think you're a piece of shit, they're not going to listen to anything you tell them, most probably. Unless it's out of fear or whatever, like they're not, like it's more effective for them to respect you, I think.
Exactly.
But I think as you grow up and you get older, you begin to realize, of course, that your parents are human at the end of the day, just like you. They've made mistakes, they do things wrong, they can be, they can just be wrong about certain things, and that's what you get even from having conversations as an adult versus when you were a kid, because now you're on the same level. So
Exactly.
you can see them for who they are. It doesn't mean that you respect them any less necessarily, but you see them in a bit of a different light.
And when you start having conversations that you never had with them before, that's when it actually clicks. I don't know if you guys have experienced it or not, but for me, like I've kind of started having conversations that with my mom that I will have with my friends, like at some point, and it feels like okay, right now we have started to understand each other. She knows what I'm talking about, and we kind of understand each other, and it feels like okay, she's not really so different as me, and now I just can't understand her at this point.
Like when you're growing up, it's like their source of like guidance for you, you know. They're like who you're supposed to look up to, who you're supposed to go for help, and then as you grow up and you have to like kind of start doing things on your own, then you're like okay. These people also had to go through it, that's why they were helping me in the beginning.
Exactly.
And then like as you grow older and older, you're like, okay, my life isn't very much different from theirs. Like obviously it's in a different stage, but like they went through this, I'm going through it. They know exactly what I'm feeling, they know exactly how I'm doing stuff, and then like you start to realize we're not much different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I won't agree to it.
Why you just agreed to?
No, I
Actually,
I wouldn't say like they've experienced what I've experienced because they had a different life.
Well, yeah, but the rough experience.
Yeah, obviously the general life experience is
Yeah.
always the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had an excellent point, but I forgot what. Yeah, I remember it. So there's a quote in Urdu which means if you're like the son and the dad share the same root, like they're friends at that point. Yeah, I had a follow up. I forgot the photo.
It's nice.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's because the thing is, it's because they look at you as more of a friend. Because in university, you're not a kid anymore.
You're
you
not
have
a kid anymore.
They
Yeah.
try to give you the idea. You have to be more responsible because you will have responsibilities
After the university, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like I've even had times where I was very surprised to even be in this situation because I never thought I would have these kinds of conversations where it almost seemed like my parents were asking me about
Yeah.
things, like they wanted to know what I thought about something.
Oh yeah, that's
Which was just something when you're a kid you never imagine being in that situation where you're actually at that level where you can be a source of help for your parents in a place that they used to help you.
Exactly.
Like with me, it's quite the opposite because when I was young, my parents would be because I was a very nice child, so they would set me up and then they would ask me, and then I would literally like think about it and tell them, but my opinion was like useless. Like they would still take it. I still have to this day when they ask me, I'm like, am I just like thinking about this thing too much and you won't even consider this opinion because it never used to happen. I have perfect opinions, by the way, still do.
Okay, sure.
But then I still have that way. You have to prove yourself in a way for them to take you seriously, and I feel like I haven't done it as of now.
I feel
I
like
mean, it's-
even.
It could be no, I was saying it could be. I guess it can be hit or miss. I feel like there's certain areas where even now my parents will just not listen to me. On certain things because I guess it depends on. I don't know. It depends on how strong their ideas are on whatever topic you're talking about with them. Like because there are certain things that I think that they probably it might not even just be because it's you. Like they would do this. They would treat anyone else who had a different opinion from them the same way. I think it's just because you happen to be their kid, they're gonna use that as their, if they don't have an argument against you,
Oh yeah,
they're
I
gonna
see.
go back to
They're
that.
gonna
They go
to
back
that,
to the
yeah.
old habits.
It's just
Yeah.
accounting. And that's what my mom said. No, my mom never said that. I'm just lying.
No, sorry.
No, my mom would say like, "Are you my mother or I am your mother? Who's the mother?" And I'd be like, "You," and then be like, "Then be quiet." And then I'm like, "Okay, that's the closing argument." What do I say
Actually,
after
that's
that?
also the case for me.
She would say like, "तुम मेरी माँ या मैं तुम्हारी माँ?"
I feel like I haven't reached that point with my parents yet because they still look at me as like a kid, but like there's times where I'm at university and like I'm telling them about my day and stuff. I was like, when did you grow up? I'm like, I've been grown for a while now, but you just
You're
don't
just-
see
yeah,
it.
you just
Well, I feel like with daughters, it's more like they're like.
It's kind of insulting actually because they look
Yeah.
at my brother who's like barely even that much older than me. He's like a year and a half older than me. They looked at him as an adult way before they looked at way before he was even 18, right? But then I'm 20 now and they still don't look at me as an adult. So I'm like, oh, maybe
They
give me the same
want,
respect.
they don't want to. Maybe that's the right way.
I'm still gonna grow up even if they don't want
Obviously,
to.
Yeah.
you want to. I think they do know you're growing up, but they just don't want to.
Yeah, and then
just get our little
they're
daughter.
like they're shocked and they're like, okay, you're grown
It's
up.
this small mistake.
Not even kidding. My mom has
Guys,
said
we have
that to
two
me.
left. Let's just go on and then we
Your
can.
mom needed new glasses. 'Cause you're not
Okay.
as much.
Let's move on to the next one. Antiophobia. A fear you sometimes experience while leaving a loved one, wondering if this will turn out to be the last time you'll ever see them, and whatever slapdash goodbye you toss their way might have to serve as your final farewell.
This happens when we're like when we're coming back to university and like you're saying goodbye to your family and stuff and your friends are like, I hope this isn't the last time
Do you
I
guys
see you.
think about it? Like, because it hasn't crossed my mind.
I don't think about it that much.
It's too sad, it's very sad.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think about it with my family that much because I'm like, okay, I will come back, they'll be here, they'll always be here. With my friends though, when everyone was leaving for university, I was like, I have no idea when I'm gonna see these people again.
Oh yeah,
You
okay.
know?
So because they were going to different places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I see.
I still keep in contact with them, but then I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna see you face to face. I don't even know if we do meet each other face to face, if you're gonna still be that same person, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see. Like I have a friend, and right now, like we have been friends like since we were 3 or 4, I guess.
Yeah.
And now it's been like a year, more than a year, that I haven't seen her, and I have no idea when I'll see her again because
Yeah.
she's studying in the US, and I don't know, like she'll be just there for a good portion of her life.
Yeah, even one of my friends, I was friends with her, like growing up. I was friends with her through COVID and stuff, and then she left at the end of COVID. She went to the US, funnily enough,
Mm-hmm.
and I have not seen her since then. It's been almost like 5 years, I
Oh my
think.
gosh.
I still haven't seen her, and I
Do
remember
you guys keep in contact?
we keep in contact still. But like I remember, we every time we message each other, we're like, oh, we're gonna meet each other. Don't worry, it'll happen soon. And we're just like, we don't know when is soon, but it'll happen
Exactly,
someday.
I
It's like
see.
that
Yeah.
fear that I'll never see her again. You know?
No, you will.
Yeah.
You know,
But
like
that's the thing is, I think if because I mean I've had this, I mean now unfortunately have had to deal with this several times throughout my life where I've had
Yeah.
to say goodbye to people and just not knowing like you know like without any I guess it like where it felt almost final, not final in the sense I guess because you don't know when you're going to see them again, and yeah it could be like when your friends graduate for example.
that's actually sad.
Or when you need to leave somewhere that you are, for example. Because I've had this situation with several times when I was in Lithuania and I had to leave the friends I had made there. Even though I was only there for a short time, I'd grown very close to the people I knew there, so it was very hard to leave
Exactly.
behind. And you know, and yeah, even and I also had friends who I left in Turkey, and now I'm going to also, you know, I have friends who graduated from here, and now in a
It's
short
you
time,
who's there.
now a short time, I'm gonna be the one who, like that's the thing. It's a very so this happens a lot. But what I will say is that if people are important enough to you, you'll always find a way to see them. again.
Exactly.
Because I have actually,
Mhm.
even the friends who I left in Lithuania, I did see them after I left. When
Oh, that's
I went back to visit
nice.
once. Of course, it's been years since I did that now.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
both put effort into it, like it's not impossible, especially
Yes.
right now. in
Yeah,
this-
I would say that I've also experienced like a lot of people they leave,
Yeah.
and then you do know you'll eventually meet them. It'll be difficult, but I would
You just never know when.
Yeah.
that's the thing is that it happens so frequently with me. Like we have friends for like 6 years, and then we would shift or they would shift. Because Saudi, it's very unpredictable. People would just go back to their home countries. You wouldn't know, and then with this, you're like you never meet them and stuff. But like some people had, I would be like, we'll eventually meet them. Because you're very close to them and you care about them enough for you to meet them.
Exactly. I see.
So, I would like to believe. I've had friends who I've never met like for like 10, 11 years, but I know I'll meet them someday.
Someday, yeah, eventually.
Yeah, because if you want to enough, you won't ever lose that desire. You know.
I had a
If
friend
there's-
It's also the same for us, you know. I feel like even if we like you're graduating, all of us will eventually graduate.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, we can at some point manage to
We'll make
see
sure
each other.
we do.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should.
no, I mean, I'm
Okay.
even like I'm even planning
Okay,
to.
you can.
You can
Yeah,
do that.
okay, you can do that.
be that way. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Okay, Hanker short. Finding a person so attractive it actually kind of pisses you off.
Okay, this is a funny way to end this one. I mean, it has happened actually, at least to me. You
Yeah,
know?
it happens
It's
a lot.
not. It doesn't have to do with jealousy. You know, it's something like they're so perfect. Like at least what you like define as perfect,
Yeah.
and you're like, why? Like they have everything I want. You know?
Exactly.
I want to be that person.
I heard jealousy.
That's
No,
not
that's not
It's
jealousy. It's just
they're like the perfect version of like who you want to be, or like who you want to be perceived as, you know.
it doesn't have to do with jealousy.
It doesn't
believe
have
me.
to do
Yeah,
with
I
it
would
doesn't have to do with
agree to
jealousy.
disagree. But with me, I just know like the British people also they're humans too. With me, like
It doesn't.
No,
just
no.
have
For
to-
me, I'll explain to you. So, for example, if I see someone, they're a perfect like I'm like someone who I idealize. I've met them, and they also have problems. So with the like I know everyone has problems. No one's perfect.
Yeah, that's
So, for
true.
example, that
Yeah.
if you believe in it, then I believe it. I don't look at someone like very highly of
Mhm.
because I think everyone's a human.
Exactly. Do you guys have anything else to add to this
No,
chapter?
I think that was it for today.
Yeah, we've done quite
It
a
was
lot.
fun.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for listening, and see you next